Are you alone? You probably are right now. Ow. But what if you weren't? What if every single human being on the planet was part of a massive community of aquatic life? What if we could breathe underwater? Could we live out the remainder of our lives beneath the waves? How would such a thing even be possible? Let's start at the beginning. Humans require oxygen to survive. This is a fact. We need oxygen to power our cells, to keep our organs functioning, and to allow us to do pretty much anything. If there were no oxygen, humans would die. And that's not all. We also have an unfortunate tendency to exhale carbon dioxide, which can, among other things, cause the oceans to become more acidic. Now, this doesn't mean we could develop some sort of technology that artificially provides us with oxygen and filters out our carbon dioxide. For the sake of this thought experiment, let's just assume that we can solve this problem, but that's only one piece of the puzzle. Even if we had artificial gills or some other device that allowed us to extract oxygen from the water and expel carbon dioxide from our lungs, it's a small matter of how we would get said oxygen into our lungs. After all, the way that we breathe air is by expelling carbon dioxide from our lungs and then inhaling air through our mouths and noses. Because the air we breathe is mostly nitrogen, it doesn't really interact with our bodies, just sits in our lungs until we exhale again. Water, on the other hand, is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. So if we were to somehow manage to get water into our lungs instead of air, we'd be in big trouble because the oxygen would immediately bind with the hydrogen and the whole thing would just kind of short-circuit our respiratory system. We would need a completely different method of breathing underwater. Perhaps we could simply absorb oxygen directly through our skin. Some fish can do this, but they also have gills which help them obtain oxygen. Most amphibians cannot breathe through their skin alone and must also obtain oxygen through their lungs. This means that they still need to breathe air. However, there are some amphibious creatures who can breathe through their skin, including certain species of frogs and salamanders. These creatures don't have gills, but they do secrete mucus from their skin, which helps them absorb oxygen from the air. Humans can't do this, but perhaps we could evolve to do so. After all, we did evolve from a common ancestor we share with all other life on Earth. Somewhere along the line, that ancient creature made its way from the water to land, eventually giving rise to the first primitive fish, then amphibians, then reptiles, then mammals, and finally humans. If we could somehow reverse this evolutionary process, we might just find ourselves better suited for life in the water. But even if we could breathe through our skin, what about the water itself? Water is nearly 1,000 times more dense than air. This means that even the act of moving our limbs would require tremendous amounts of effort. We would need powerful new muscles and denser bones to withstand the pressure. Not to mention the salt in seawater would most likely dehydrate us, unless we had some sort of protective mechanism to prevent water from entering our bodies. In short, it would take millions of years of evolution for humans to become truly aquatic. But if we did undergo such a transformation, what would the world look like? Assuming that we didn't kill ourselves by changing the composition of the atmosphere, the world would probably look much like it does today. We might have vast underwater cities and a strong economy based around undersea trade. Who knows? Maybe we'd even evolve to communicate telepathically like dolphins. What's for sure is that life as we know it would cease to exist. But then again, neither would life as we don't know it. So what do you think? Could we ever become an aquatic species? Or is life on land just a part of our destiny? Let us know in the comments below. And now you're probably wondering what happens when a blue whale gets stuck in quicksand. Click here to find out. And don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell for notifications. Thanks for watching.